The Celtics just made a shocking but probably brilliant move with the hiring of Jeff Van Gundy as a senior consultant with the team. We'll be breaking down what that could mean for the Celtics going forward. Plus, Neemas Queta continues to make a name for himself as he dominates Luke Kornet in practice. So all that and much more on this episode of Celtics Digest. But before we get into the video, a reminder that 88.8% of you guys watching this are not subscribed. That's a lot of eights, and that's a lot of people who haven't hit that button down below for daily Boston Celtics content all season long. And if you want to stick around for the ride, hit the button. You won't regret it. So let's just get into this. We got to talk about Neemas Queta. Like, oh man, look. Was he dominating from minute 1 to the final minute of practice? I mean, maybe not necessarily, but we got a little screen cap here and some talk about the practice showing that he was really making a name for himself. Now, before I show the screenshot, you guys know we made a video talking about how Neemas Queta solves a lot of the Celtics' problems as being billed at about 7 foot. He's thick, he's jacked, right, and he blocks shots. He fills that exact need that we want our sort of third string center to do if he's going to be the third string behind Kornet. But so far in the preseason, Queta has shown that he might actually have a case over Luke Kornet for that backup center role. Now, do I think he's going to get it? Maybe not necessarily, but stuff like this makes me think that maybe he should. Look at the height on this. The ball is about 1.5 feet above Luke Kornet's hands, about 2 feet above the rim. Queta just goes up and throws this dunk down, and you can see Mazzulla in the bottom left just looking shocked, like, oh my gosh, this guy might be our new backup center. Now, again, is he locked in for the backup center right now? No. I mean, the Celtics themselves have stated that Luke Kornet still has that job for now, and it kind of makes sense, right? Kornet fills a very similar role to Kristaps Porzingis. They're both very tall, right? Kornet also being a 7-footer, and Kornet is able to block shots around the rim. Now, while Kornet's peripherals and his advanced statistics regarding rim protection over his career have not been the best, if you take a look through his basketball reference page, you'll see varying block percentages kind of up and down, and they kind of fluctuate with some minutes here and there. So his sample size isn't really big enough to know whether he's a legit rim protector, but someone like Neemas Queta is, right? Especially in the summer league this year when he was playing with Sacramento before he signed with Boston. Queta had a lot of moments where he was throwing down contested dunks, bodying people on dunks, and swatting shots, not only just by being a paint anchor, but also in transition, some chase down blocks, stuff like that. Like, Neemas Queta has shown a lot of flashes of being a very, very solid center. Now, again, last year, the G League runner-up for MVP, he was very, very solid down there. But again, that's G League, right? And there's a big transition between G League and NBA. And while he is looking like he is playing amazing so far for the Celtics, and he is making his case, at least with a lot of fans, especially us at Celtics Digest, we're like, hey, Neemas Queta looks like he could be the real deal. He's making the case in a lot of Celtics fans' hearts, but he still has to make that case for the coaching staff. And let's be honest, Luke Kornet has the body of work that's better. He's been a consistent NBA big for 5-6 years now, starting with the Knicks. He's played with the Bulls. He's played with the Celtics. He's been kind of all over the place, while Neemas Queta has yet to really make a name for himself in the NBA. But he's really starting to do that. And with things like this in practice, it just makes you think, like, could he eventually take over that backup center role? And it's hard to say. I think we have to actually see the Celtics play some games in the regular season, but if he's doing stuff like that, if he's able to posterize people like Luke Kornet, who's not small, mind you, remember, reminder, he has long arms, he's a 7-footer, he's a solid rim protector, and Queta is this high above him. I mean, I know this is one screenshot, but there was some talk from that practice saying that Neemas Queta was playing very, very well, and we've seen the evidence in the preseason. I guess we just have to wait for the regular season, but regardless, if Neemas Queta is somehow still not on your radar after our videos before and this video now and all this evidence talking about it, he should be, because I think there's a real chance he could end up stealing that backup center role. But we got to talk about the main thing that happened today with the Boston Celtics, and that's hiring Jeff Van Gundy. Now, a lot of you guys know about Jeff Van Gundy. You probably know him from his broadcasting days, but Jeff Van Gundy used to be a coach, and he has a pretty impressive resume. I'm just going to flash up the thing here. Brian Robb says the team source has confirmed to Mass Live that Jeff Van Gundy is now working for the Celtics as a senior consultant. And if we take a look at the coaching staff here, you see head coach Joe Mazzulla. We got some great assistants with the likes of Sam Cassell. We got Phil Pressey, Celtics legend, player enhancement coach, a bunch of other great names along here. But you see Jeff Van Gundy at the bottom as a senior consultant. Now, Jeff Van Gundy has a lengthy coaching career. Of course, he coached in college. He was an assistant coach for Providence and Rutgers. I'm taking a look over here. He was the head coach for the Knicks from 96 to 2001, and he was the head coach for the Houston Rockets from 03 to 07. So he hasn't coached as a head coach in about 15-20 years. However, he has been coaching for the U.S. men's national team, whether it was I think it was the 2017 FIBA Cup, FIBA AmeriCup, but also for the 2020 Olympics. He was coaching with Greg Popovich, helping the guys out. He just has such a great mind for the game, and that was very evident in his commentary. Now, is he everyone's favorite commentator? No, definitely not. But he took a step away from commentating very recently, and the Celtics were like, hey, like, do you want to come work for us? Because there's no doubt he has a great basketball mind. He was a really good coach when he did coach. He led teams, I think he had multiple 50-win seasons as a head coach, and he knows how to get the most out of his players. And the thing with Jeff Van Gundy, and if you've watched his commentary, you know this, is he's not afraid to call it like it is. Right, Jeff Van Gundy's the kind of guy that will come into practice. I mean, now he's a senior consultant, so maybe he's not actively running drills or anything. That's more to Missoula, someone like a Cassell, and the rest of the assistant coaching staff. But I think as a senior consultant, he's not going to be afraid to go to management and say, go to Brad Stevens and say, hey, I don't like this. This was stupid. I think this is better, right? This kind of thing. Because his insights are very valuable. He's been around the game for so long, with 30, 40 years around the game of basketball. He knows what he's talking about. He's been a successful head coach, and I feel like his insights could be very valuable to the Boston Celtics. So what does this mean moving forward? Well, I think this sets a very clear precedent that the Boston Celtics, I mean, if the Jrue Holiday trade didn't already set this precedent in your mind, this hire, it's hopefully just compounding upon that feeling that the Boston Celtics are really going all in, right? They bolstered their starting lineup. Yes, their bench still has maybe some question marks, but if Neemas Queta continues to be as good as he is, hey, who knows? But there's still some question marks around the actual roster, especially the bench. However, I'm not really worried about it because they have so much like bench depth, a bunch of guys that can fill in that 7th, 8th man role, a bunch of guys that can go off and help out the team on any given night. So they bolstered their roster. They're going all in. They traded for Jrue Holiday, one of the best defenders in the NBA. They probably have the best starting 5 heading into this season. But not only that, they're bolstering their coaching staff and they're bolstering their management, right? Bringing in a guy like Jeff Van Gundy with so much great experience, a guy that's been around the game for so long, a guy that can really transform a team from being very solid to the elite level, is something that shows me that Wyc Grousbeck, the ownership group, Brad Stevens, the GM, Joe Mazzulla, the head coach, they're really, really buying in. And I think what JVG can help a lot with too is the development of the young guys. Now, a lot of you guys, if you watch the finals, I know Bruce, I was talking to Bruce about this. Unfortunately, he wasn't free to record today. But one thing that Bruce was saying, Jeff Van Gundy has not been shy to call out the Celtics on their bad play in the past, and notably some of their playoff appearances, right? Or even if the Celtics were just playing the Warriors, as Bruce mentioned, and yeah, maybe you guys have noticed this too, like when they play the Warriors, he would say, oh, what are you doing, Jayson Tatum? That's a terrible shot. But if Curry took a bad shot, it'd be like, oh, well, it's Stephen Curry, it's okay. But I feel like if Jeff Van Gundy is here with the Celtics, being not afraid to call out players or actions or sets or anything like that he doesn't like, I feel like it could be good. And I don't know if that's going to be his style as a coach, right? When you're a commentator, you're kind of there to drive a bit of controversy. You're there to really stir up the audience, keep them engaged, let alone some of the other stuff he has asked over the years, random questions that don't really have anything to do with the game. But regardless, it's a guy with a ton of basketball experience. It's a guy with a brilliant mind for the game. It's an indicator that the Celtics are ready to go all in. They're doing everything they can to bolster their not only roster, but front office and every single member of the organization to make a real push in the next few years for Banner 18 and maybe more. But that'll do it for this episode of Celtics Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. You guys have been showing insane support. We've gained 1,000 subscribers in the last few weeks, and we hope that just continues to grow and grow and grow to make us the best Celtics channel on YouTube. I've been your host, Josh Gosse. I'll catch you in the next one.